So in the opener today, we need to make sure we recognize that these are two different types of problems. When we're adding and subtracting square roots, we need to remember that when we have pluses and minuses in between the square roots, we need to keep those square roots separate. So when I'm simplifying these, I need to do each one on its own first, and then if we can, we'll combine like terms. With the multiplication one, we can combine them all because they're all one term to start with, since it's just multiplication. And so we can put everything together, and that'll make things go a little bit more quickly. So let's start with that first one. We're adding and subtracting. What's the first thing we need to do to simplify those square roots? Yeah, we're always going to start to simplify square roots. We're always going to start with a factor tree. So I'll go through those real quick here. If your factor trees look a little bit different, that's okay. We should just get the same numbers in the end. And actually the 49, instead of doing 7 times 7, we could do what?
7 squared.
We could do 7 squared. So anytime you have a perfect square, you could either do something like this, you do 7 times 7, or you could do 7 squared. You're going to get the same thing in the end. All right, then we're going to rewrite it, and for that square root of 8, what's going to go inside of the square root instead of the 8? And the 49, what's going to go in the square root there? 7 times 7, or 7 squared. I like to use the square, but if you did 7 times 7, that's fine. You'll get the same thing, right? So don't worry about changing it if you wrote it a different way. And then square root of 50 is going to be... Okay, now that we've rewritten it with the prime factorizations, what do we do next? Circle pairs. So we've got a pair of 5s here, we've got a pair of 2s here, and then with the 7s, if you wrote it 7 times 7, you would circle that pair of 7s. Since I wrote it as 7 squared, what can I do with the square? Cancel the square with the square root, and it just leaves the 7 all by itself, right? Okay, so now we rewrite it again. When we rewrite it this time, we're going to take the pairs and put them on the outside. Remember, 2 times 2 is the same thing as 2 squared, and a square cancels a square root out, so that's going to put the 2 on the outside because it's canceling that square root. So the 2 goes on the outside, and we still have a 2 on the inside. For the 7, we had the pair of 7s that's going to go on the outside, or the square cancels the square root. Either way, we get 7 all by itself. And then the last one, minus 5 on the outside, 2 on the inside. So 5 square root of 2. All right, now we want to look for like terms and combine them if we can. So what like terms do we have? 2 square root of 2 and 5 square root of 2, right? Yeah, so those are like terms and we can combine those. The 7's not going to combine with anything, but which one do we want to write first? The 7, because it does not have a square root on it, right? So when we're writing in order, the radicands go from smallest to biggest, but we want the one without the radican to go first. Okay, so walking around, I saw a few people had it the other way around. If you did, just make sure you rewrite it, and you get that 7 first. And then when we combine the 2 square root of 2 and the negative, this is negative because that's a minus in front, the negative 5 square root of 2, what's 2 minus 5? Negative 3. And we've got that square root of 2 on there. So we get 7 minus 3 square root of 2. Moving on then, this multiplication one, just like the adding, we do need to simplify this, but we can simplify this by putting everything together in one square root. So to start simplifying, I'm going to go ahead and do the factor tree first, even though it's really the second step that we wrote down in our notes. I'm going to do that first just so I know how much room I need for it. So for factoring here, how's that 18 going to factor? 3 and 6. 3 is prime, 6 is not. 6 would be 2 and 3. How about the 60? 6 and 10, and then we have 2 and 3 and 2 and 5. Alright, so the first time I rewrite this, I'm going to multiply the coefficients together. So the coefficients are the 5 and the 2, and 5 times 2 is 10. And then I'm also going to multiply the radicands together, but I'm not really going to multiply them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the factors for the 18 and the factors from the 60 and put all those together. Now we want to make sure we do it in order. So what order are they going to go? What are we going to have first? Yeah, I see 3 2s. So 2 times 2 times 2. Then, okay, 3 3s. And then a 5, right? And all of that goes in the square root. Okay? Yeah, now we just simplify the square root like we have been for a few weeks now. So we circle pairs. I see a pair of 2s here, a pair of 3s here, and that's it, right? So on the outside, we have the 10 already, and then we're going to have the 2 and the 3 go out there with it. So what is 10 times 2 times 3? 60. And then on the inside, we have that 2, the 3, and the 5 left, so we're going to multiply those together. 2 times 3 times 5 is? 30. And that's it.